All right. Sharp. Check your time now. 2 minutes past 8 o'clock. We know they miss promise. We know they fail promise. We know be like some people. If we promise you something, we go do, and we tell you on the other side of 8 o'clock. Now time for big talk and a scoff. Yes, that time now. Big talk on top. Super Citizen at Sunrise. Citizen FM 93.7 for Abuja. If you check us out on top website, we did there www.citizenfm.ng. Then the website, and you fit still check us out on top of 93.7 FM or score for the normal FM frequency. All right. Happy birthday to my man Kennedy. Shout out to you. Enjoy your day. Quickly, make we rush inside the matter with the ground. The big talk this morning. They call me the chief priest, Ezemmuo 1, Sir Phil, aka Philemon Ajekuko, or Philemon Ajekuko, or if you call him Sir Phil. No, me they call her that one. They here inside of the building, and we will talk about some of these things together. Now, quickly, the big talk. Before Minister of National Planning and Director General of the National Institute of Legislative and Democratic Studies, where we say be the academic arm of the National Assembly, where they train some of the legislative aides. Some of them they pass through that particular school, do legislative trainings and all of that courses. We go help them function for inside of the National Assembly. All right. So the man we sit down inside of that particular, the Director General of that particular job body, National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, will be saying I'm the academic arm of the National Assembly, Professor Abubakar Suleiman. Now, it gets something when you talk. That word when you talk, mine go be the anchor. That word when you talk, now on top of that word, from that word, name the big talk go come out. We'll go pieces that particular word, make we understand. What be the word when you talk? Now, when in the following you to read people they talk for inside of one interview, he talk something. He open in buka cavity when they take the chop yam, they drink water. He take talk, say, governors for inside of Nigeria, governors for this country, say that them be the biggest problem where Nigeria get. I the talk and the way when you take talker. Now what in Professor Abubakar Suleiman will be the Director General of the National Institute of Legislative and Democratic Studies. Where in talk, he talks a governors for inside of the country. They are Nigeria's biggest problems. Now what in he talk? Why? He talks most of the governors, he talks some things from some of the policies and some of the programs where they do say they know they really really they about the people. Say they not really they do much about the people. Because they talk about the resources where they for their control. Talk about some of the ideas where governors are supposed to push, where they never really push. So if you see governors, they push most times, they push for their self-interest. Now, he ain't talk many things when he talk about this particular matter. All right, so based on that talk, now I sit down, reason I say, okay, let's talk about this. How he take B, say the chief executive officers of each of the states. Now that be the problem where we get from the country. How? How about the Senate? How about the legislature? How about the presidency? How about the judiciary? How about the agencies? How about all that joint body of government? How he take B, saying that the governors now be the biggest problem, according by what Professor Abubakar talk. We want to find out this morning based on how the be, because we check governorship elections now this Saturday, or the gubernatorial elections now this Saturday. Now make we check the governors. Waiting they expected of the governors where they know they do, how they take be the problem. All right, so person will go help us check this matter. It is live inside of the studio. We got Philemon Ajekuko live for inside of the studio. Welcome, Safil. Always interesting to get you on board on top of the matter. Welcome on board. So welcome this morning, Safil. Now, you don't hear this thing. Former Minister of National Planning, Director General of the National Institute of Legislative and Democratic Studies, Professor Abubakar Suleiman, he said the governors are the biggest problem of Nigeria. Said they don't do much for the people and all of that. Now, governorship elections, they come close. Make we put torchlight on top of this governors. We're in the talk about how you first of all, this comment, where you go weigh this comment on the scale of whether whether it make brain or not, where you go weigh this particular comment. Then we will pass from there, they talk, they go.
Well, the truth of the matter is that it's not a new comment. We've had such comments over the years. There's an element of truth to it, but it's also simplistic. Let me tell you why. For a country, it is the president that sets the agenda of a country. It is the president that determines where the country will be headed. So that overall template for the development of a country is in the hands of the president. That is why all over the world, people don't pay attention to what's going at the subnational level. The international communities, for instance, that the people glorify, they always look at who is your next president. That is where they determine how they will play their own interest. So that tells you how important it is to get the right person at the presidency. Why is that? Why is this so? Before we digress into the issue of the governors.
Yes.
Because whatever the president does affects all the other levers of government. So here, you're doing monetary policy, you're doing fiscal policy, you're doing ease of doing business policy. It flows from the top down to the local government. That is why the governors took their own government to court to say what you are doing is hurting our people. So that's on one hand. So what it means is that in a country, there is one huge masquerade, one huge principality, and that is the president. Now, when you take that and move it aside, there are 36 other principalities in the country. In our country, we have 36 states.
Because they come to that one. I want to say, yes, those other ones are miniature or mini presidents.
They are.
For their state.
They are.
Yes.
They are. So we have 36 other presidents. Presidents with small letter.
Yes.
Across the country. What they do collectively also affects the development of the country as a unit.
I like that word, collectively.
Yeah, what they do collectively. When you gather all the things when they do for the different states, it amounts to a huge impact on the development of a country. So what are we saying? We're saying that governors have so much power, and we are saying that they need to use those powers for the good of the country. Now, in recent times, I've had this experience which makes me very uncomfortable. The what's it called now? Commissioning of flyovers.
It happens a lot, or it happened a lot for Rivers.
And at one day I just sat down. I said, "Wait, what is flyover?" Said, "Sef." I say, "Okay, flyover and a pedestrian bridge for cars. Oh, that's what flyover are. That's what a flyover is. It's a pedestrian bridge for cars." So I was asking myself, how did that become something to be celebrated, to be cast on national television? Because a governor is commissioning a flyover, and the governor will tell you, "I have many more to commission," and you bring people from different parts of the country to come and commission flyover, to come and commission roads. Now, let us break it down further. What is it that makes up the function of the state? You have infrastructure, you have education, you have health, you have security, you have the ease of doing business. What that means is that whatever the president is doing at the top, the governors are supposed to replicate it at the bottom.
Subnational level.
At subnational level. The same thing even applies to the local government level. So you have 3 levels as we have.
That local government, we go come maybe next Wednesday or something because of time. We'll focus on that local government.
So I am under the impression that in some cases, the governor even has more powers than the president.
You should just closing on that statement.
Let me explain it to you.
Explain them before we move ahead to other things.
It is very difficult, for instance, for the president to emasculate the National Assembly. It is very difficult. What I mean, to disable, so to speak, the ability of the National Assembly to function. For instance, the president cannot shut down the National Assembly. You will cause so much mayhem that you will run out of Aso Villa. But the governors can do it, and they have done it so many times.
That's collectively they can decide.
The governor can shut down the State House of Assembly.
Yes, the State House of Assembly. Yes,
they have done it several times. We have had situations where a governor will use 8 members out of 30-something members
to pass
to do something.
Yes, to pass a resolution. It can't be like, say, the influence the governors get for the state assemblies. I'm not sure say the president gets that one on the National Assembly.
The president does not have that kind of the president does not have it. You will recall in 2015 when some people were in the villa trying to figure out who would be the Senate president. They didn't know that the members of the National Assembly had their own agenda. And they came up with Bukola Saraki. And everybody went haywire. And there was nothing the president could do about it. But that cannot happen at the state level. If it happens, the governor will do everything possible to ensure that in this case, speaker, will not see the light of day.
Yes,
is either impeached or he will be so harmed that he may not be able to function. So what are we saying? What we are saying is that the governors have so much powers. Now, you even leave that aside. What of the local politics of the state? Can the governor, for instance, can the president determine who will be the governor of Lagos State? Can the president do that? Can the president wake up and say, I want this man to be the governor of Delta State?
He ain't gonna need help.
He will need a lot of help. But one person in a state called a governor can wake up and say, I want Ezemmuo to be the next governor. And in most cases, there's very little you can do about it. In fact, he will subvert the electoral process that should lead to the emergence of a governorship candidate to ensure that his preferred candidate emerges. And you have seen that even in this election that is holding on Saturday, most of the people you see in each of the states, if not all of the states, are candidates of the existing governor. All right? But let us come down to what we're trying to say. Anytime there is a problem, I see the governor say, oh, the president, the federal government, blah, 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 blah. They completely make their own powers opaque. They divert attention from the state
to the presidency.
To the president. Now, something happened in Rivers State 2 days ago. I use Rivers State a lot because I spent time there. And that was the first time I was in the corridor of power. I got to see how power works at the state level. The governor said he wants to have a tete-a-tete with the student body union. Student union, yes. And a whole lot of members said, no, sir. You have not been fair to us throughout your 8 years. Is it now that you suddenly remember that you are going to have a discussion with us? No, we are not coming. We are not coming. Now roll that back. One of the principal pillars of development is education. And according to education expert, even more crucial is the education of infants, not even adults.
Children.
Between the ages of 1 and 6. That whatever you are going to be in life, that is where
it begins to take shape.
So once you don't get it right at that level, and you see the effect, if a primary 6 kid cannot speak good English, he will have problem in secondary school, and you see that even transmitted to the university level. So the impact that the governors will have on education builds up to contribute to the national manpower pool of skills. And this is within the preserve of the state governors. They don't need federal government to do that. They don't. Then what of infrastructure?
Yes.
What is it that makes, you see the magic that, for instance, a road can do to an environment?
You know, that's one of the easiest way to develop a town.
It is one of the easiest ways.
Tar road everywhere. The town will be, you not going to recognize them again.
Once you tar road, economic, it's just like in those days when they said, if you look at the trajectory of development, wherever there is a river, there is development. Because rivers lead to trade.
Yes, ship docks, canoes.
So if you look at all the civilizations of the world, they were usually congregated around riverine areas. So it's the same thing inland. The role of river is played by roads. So which means that building roads is a basic thing that a governor should do. It's not something that a governor should do and begin to seek for accolades. It is a basic thing that governors should do.
It's a means to an end.
It's a means to lifting the economies of the states. Then you talk about health.
Yeah.
Two things that work together, health and education.
But they don't scratch education, but go ahead.
To build a manpower that has the capacity to move your economy, you need people who are healthy. Even in the education, you need the children to be healthy. If they are dying of malaria or all kinds of stuff, you cannot build that manpower. Now, health is in the hands of the governors. It's not in the hands of federal government.
No, how so? But there are
federal government has its own part.
Okay.
State government have their own part to play. So it's a conjunctive business. So what I need to do in my state, I don't need you. I don't need the federal government. The governor of any state does not need to wait for Buhari or any president for that matter to build his own health infrastructure. And what is it that they need in health infrastructure? Primary health infrastructure. You start from there and you build it to the tertiary level. Then let me even talk of one that has been in the radar for a long time.
Yes.
Security.
Exactly.
Everybody is coming to Abuja about security. Oh, because they feel the military is in the hands of the federal government. The police is in the hands of the federal government. Therefore, everything that has to do with security is in the hand of the federal government. No, sir, that is not correct. That is not correct. As a governor, it is your responsibility to map out the security challenges in your own environment and then build security infrastructure into economic infrastructure. Since the military is not in your hand, the police is not in your hand, what should you do? You empower the police that is domiciled in your own state. And we have seen some governors do that. For instance, how many governors have a command room where issues of state security are discussed quickly wherever there is a security challenge. So we are talking about incidences that come up at any point in time, or the entire infrastructure of the state on a long or short, medium and long-term basis. So don't forget that the what's called that, the governor, just as Buhari is seen to be the chief security officer of the country, the governor is also chief security officer of the state. Then also add this to it. I hope you know they are getting allocation for security.
Yes, security votes and all of that.
And this security vote is not audited by anybody. Because it's security, nobody audits that thing. So whatever goes into security is like going into a black hole. So when you put all of this together,
why is it that sorry to when you say nobody the audit or the see to that particular security vote, why is it so? So no need for accountability for that area.
You know, all over the world, you have an element of that. It's not that you are not accountable to what you do with the money. It is that you don't want to say exactly what you are doing with the money. For instance, if you have NSA or SSS carrying out certain operations, and you begin to publish it that okay, for this is what we spend this, so somebody can easily know what your lapses are. So that is why all over the world there's some opacity around spendings on security issues
of security generally.
Yeah, generally. So that is not a problem. But the problem is when you become reckless because it is not scrutinized. You become reckless and you spend it the way you like. And we have known in this country, for instance, that a lot of leakages comes through that security votes. All right? So, but the point we're trying to make is this.
Yes.
They have the money. So what do they use the money for? The money is supposed to be for the security of the state. And how do you spend the money? Whatever federal government has provided to the police and the military, you augment it. And you have your own commando, so to speak, command center in your own state. How many state governors are doing that? It is only once in a while you hear them summon the police commissioner or summon the commander, whoever is there. But that's not the way to go. The way to go is to have a plan. I'm privileged to know that some governors even used what is it called now? Surveillance equipment. They brought some surveillance equipment into the country. And some people have quarreled with that. And I said, no, you don't quarrel with that. If you use it responsibly to track these bad guys, it is not a bad thing to do. But if you use it to track your political opponents, that is where you can now say it is irresponsible. So all of this put together are the functions of the state governors. And if collectively they all do their own part, it means they are contributing. You know, they say rice on top of rice. Make pot food. It makes the work at the center easy. So the center cannot concentrate on areas where there are gaps or where there are weaknesses. That way, the country moves forward even faster.
Even faster.
Yeah.
All right. So you don't touch many things because as we go, one make we still look the executive lists and the concurrent list, but you don't touch some of those things already. And then I know, say going forward, we'll get time to look the residual list, talking about some of the things when they be say the state governors alone go look at. So, but then make we come up with it from there. we'll talk about security, talk about infrastructure, talk about, and earlier on they talk about building bridges and how Nigerians they celebrate flyovers and all of that. Now, waiting be the areas where Nigerians need to hold their governors accountable, because many people know where these functions they separate. Any small thing, president. Any small thing, president. Any small thing, they go. Where are we going in this country? The president. At what point should citizens ask their governors questions? Instead of take some of these frustrations where Nigerians they take them out on the wrong authorities or on the inappropriate quarters. Then they take them out. You get some when they say they need to take to their governors. Say, governor, this thing now you go do them for us. Now many people don't come outside talk. Say during this Naira crowd, some of the governors will come outside speak up. They speak up for political reasons. Say they don't really they come out like that before. Now, but the question now, at what point should citizens begin to drag their governors for shit? They hold them responsible. Say, "Oga, this is what you should do for us. You have not done this. You have not done this." So that let people know where then they go. Not be any small thing president. Not be any small thing senator, House of Rep. Let them know when to drag their governors by the shirt.
I think the major issue is there's something they call monitoring and evaluation. Every year, governors make budgets. Now, there are line items in these budgets. The governor will state, this is for this one for security, this one is for education, this one is for that, blah, 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 blah. The place is filled up with all these things. At the end of the day, how do you match the budget to what is on ground? That is where the citizens get lost. And because government has been constituted in such a way that these governors feel that they are not responsible to anybody. They just do what they need to do, what they have to do, and they will tell you what they have done. And they expect that you should accept what they are saying. That is the mode of operation. And that is where citizens really need to wake up. I give you an example. NDDC. Federal government gives money to NDDC to do projects in all the oil producing states. Last year, I had a report that did evaluation of some kind of forensic analysis of these projects. My brother, what I saw, oh God, have mercy. You know, you tell me that on your budget that you are going to build a primary school here, you are going to build a solar plant here, you are going to build a road here, and it goes with tied down with budgets
for each of the projects.
And then these forensic experts went to the various communities. They now looked at each of these projects to determine what state they are. Now, in the books of NDDC, you will see completed. You will see 98% completed, 50% completed, blah, 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 down. And then you go to the community where you have, let's say, completed, where what you have is maybe a fence and bush clearing. But in the books of NDDC, that project is completed.
And that means that the fund or the resources where they don't map for that one don't go.
It don't disappear into somewhere.
They don't complete them.
Okay. Now, you might think I am making this up. But a year or two ago, the federal government, because of the outcry of states, people of the oil producing states, federal government occasioned its own forensic audit of the activities of NDDC. Then I wrote a piece. I don't remember what I titled it now, but it was like, I call it the coroner's joke. How do you expect to laugh at the coroner's joke? You know what they call coroner? Coroner, when they determine how people die.
Yes.
So if you go to their conference, what kind of joke do you think they will
crack,
they crack? And I said back then that this report will never see the light of day. It has been how many months now that the report has been submitted, and we don't have a white paper. Now, who is presiding over these monies? It is not just NDDC. It is in conjunction with the state governors.
Wow.
So, what I think that Nigerians need to do is to follow the money. That's what we call follow the money.
Follow the money.
Where is your budget, sir? Here is the budget. You take copies of the budget and you do a mapping of each local government and what projects are specified for each local government, and then even break it down to what projects are specified for each community.
Yes, each community.
Each ward. And take cognizance of it. Midway, take the budget,
Compare.
go to the communities.
Compare with waiting there on ground.
At the end of the year, when that budget cycle is officially closed, this Vanguard will do its own forensic audit. I say, sir, you said you were going to build a secondary school here. This is how much was budgeted. This is what you said will be done with the budget. We have the school, we have pictures, we have the community elders, youths. This is what we saw on ground, sir. And what we saw on ground does not match what has been provided for and disbursed. Once citizens begin to do that, there will be some element of fear, because you will not ask, Oga, where the money?
Okay, so just before we move ahead, how citizens go take do that? Because when you say may they get like a group, or how citizens go take regroup, call the attention of governor, say, Governor, see budget where you give us, see the things where you talk, say you go do, see the things where we see on ground. They know they tally, they know they correspond, they know they all go together, waiting they play. How citizens go take really practically now through maybe a representative, or through how they go take do up, how they go take hold the governor to account, just as you talk so now.
That's why you have civil society organizations. And I'm saying that with some element of fear, because I have also seen civil society organizations
that are not really civil.
You need to search for people in this community who have the interest of the community at heart. Because something happened in my village late last year. They were looking for, this Petroleum Industry Act.
Yes.
There's a part of it that says each community should have a committee that we oversee the monies allocated to the communities. Because there is now a portion of the money that goes straight to the communities. Now, they wanted to set up that committee. And I have a friend who has been in the oil industry for the past 15 years that has just retired. And somebody called him, are you aware that they have started nominating? In fact, they finished nominating people who will be on the committee. Is your name there? My friend said, no, my name is not there. And the guy said, how on earth? You are part of the industry. not only at Nigerian level, at OPEC level. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So, what that means is that even when you form a civil society, some kind of quasi-civil society organization, let it be made of people who have the interest of the community at heart, not people who will say, how we go do them now, and then you pass some things under the table, some small money, because that's what I have seen in Nigerian communities. You see one small boy. I used to bid for a job. Bid for jobs under the Son Padec, which is my state oil producing organization. And I went to my king and I said, sir, this is what I want to do. I'm bringing my company. I want to do project under the Son Padec. And I give you one promise, and I put it in writing, that 20% of whatever profit I will get, you and I will sit down and decide what we should do with that money in the community. That was my suggestion. So I said, talk to the people at the SOPAD. And he talked to them. They say, bring your quotation, bring your company. I was just loading. I had registered everywhere. I didn't know they were just laughing. They see this foolish man. You come out there. It was after so much delay that I came to understand that I didn't belong to the club.
The brotherhood.
The brotherhood. Theirs is not to lift the community. I went around and I saw what these small boys, who were my juniors in secondary school, the kind of buildings they had. Now, all of this plays into the hand of the governors, because that is the domain of the governor. The governor is the one who sponsors people to get into the Son Padec. They are the ones that nominate, and they know, these boys know that theirs is to get what you can get and then give to the Godfather what is due to the Godfather, and business finish. That's the end of the matter. So I didn't belong to that, and for that reason, my brother, I didn't get one contract, even though I was overqualified. I didn't get one contract. So what am I saying? What I'm saying is that if we are honest, because apart from governors sabotaging, we also sabotage ourselves. Because once you are given, just like when the Niger Delta states were talking about resource control, you remember? Yes. 2007, 2003, Ibori and the others, Alamasiya, resource control. That was why Obasanjo created NDDC.
Yes.
And once NDDC was created, what happened? Let me even give you another instance. A friend was made the MD of NDDC. So I say, wow. I still have the letter I wrote to her. I say, madam, you have made a name for yourself already, because you were a commissioner in a state. Now, let us do something for our communities. Do you understand? I want to do jobs in the education sector, which is my interest. You know what the woman told me? Boy, it's not easy. There are 1 million governors on my neck over this thing you are talking. I said, but you are the MD. You can still maneuver something. I'm not praising myself, but I'm just telling you what I thought as a member of the community. We have a moral obligation to lift our people. It is when you lift the people. I told the Ernest in one of the programs that what you feel about your country is as a result of what your country does that makes you feel good. That is what we call index of happiness. When you are happy, you have a good feeling towards your country, and you have this propensity to do what is good for your country.
All right.
So that is where I think we should be. Whether it will be done by the communities, I have no idea.
Okay, whether that now how very insightful rather, very insightful, very expository there. Some of the things them way citizens fit do to hold the governors accountable. Well, whether they go do another different thing. Now, but we could talk about this famous talk. About governors where they be say they don't they talk this talk not be today where they say the National Assembly it be like retirement ground, especially the Senate. It be like retirement ground for governors. Governors go do their normal 2 terms. After 2 terms, you go for Senate, go chill for there.
Talk about it quickly.
That now waiting many people they talk. Now the argument when they people like for instance for this 10th assembly we go get people like Adams Oshomole where be said that before governor of Edo State we'll get people like Dave Umahi, the outgoing governor of Ebonyi State. We get people also incumbent governors we try we don't really get the shots. People like Otom of Benue State and some other governors we don't get the chance to come in. But this thing don't be like tradition. Make we talk about why. If you be ex-governor for 2 terms, that one guarantee say you get the requisite experience to be a good senator or a good legislator. Why it be like an unspoken law? Say after 2 terms, go Senate. Why it be like that? And then that one guarantee the quality. Because somebody don't serve 2 terms as a governor, that one guarantee him quality as a senator of the Federal Republic. Make we talk about that because now something they very anytime when they talk about governors after 2 terms, the next thing is Senate or Senate. So make we really look this area. The quality of legislator. Or the quality of the legislator. You get anything to do, say, because if they say experience. Yes, you don't be governors for 2 terms. Does that amount to enough experience?
There's a book I'm reading right now. It's called the Gatekeepers. The Gatekeepers. It's the history of chief of staffs in America from long time ago, and how they impact the American democracy. In fact, one person said that outside the president, the next most powerful person is the chief of staff.
The chief of staff.
Yes. And they then give example of Donald Rumsfeld. You remember him?
Yes.
And Dick Cheney.
Dick Cheney.
Yes. Former vice president. Former chief of staff.
Yeah.
What you see in some of these advanced democracies is people who started politics from when they left school. So some even through via volunteering. They're not paid. They just work with politicians and they get some experience. So what has that got to do with what we are saying? We have said in the previous session that the governors are mini presidents.
Yes.
Because they control an empire of their own. They engage the State House of Assembly. So they have that critical experience which can translate into better productivity or higher productivity.
So the experience is not in question.
The experience is not in question. But then we have also seen that their motive, more often than not, is not to come and enhance the capacity of the National Assembly. That is why Nigerians have this feeling that they are retiring into the National Assembly. In other words, we have politicians who don't have any other thing to do in their lives or with themselves. So they are always looking for positions
the next
to hold.
Position, yes.
Not necessarily driven by altruistic reasons to add value to the system, but they are looking for where their pay structure will continue. We have even had a situation where people retire as governor, they are paid their allowances, and then they retire from the Senate, they also pay. I think there's a law now against that. So That is the quarrel. Otherwise, even if you look at the American democracy, we have governors who make it to the Senate. All right? We also have senators who run for governor.
Yes.
So there's this flow of skills back and forth, back and forth. But now we're also beginning to see, especially an interesting thing in this assembly, this last election, that the governors are like a balloon.
How so?
Balloon is floating in the air, and it thinks it's up there. But all it takes to bring it down is a little head of a pin. We have seen in this election that once you take rigging out of the scene, the governors are not as powerful as they claim to be. That is why people like Ayade, people like the governor of Plateau State,
yes,
and a whole lot of them couldn't win a senatorial seat, which is a subset of a state.
Not the entire state.
Not the entire state. So
and we see some we even lose the entire state to opposition.
Right.
That now for the presidential level.
Right. So that has demystified to a very sweet extent.
Like they don't naked them. They don't see them.
Naked them. Say, even the people do not believe in them. But the people have been chained by the rigging machine. Just like I hear people say, how come Nigerians they are not well, there's this apathy. My brother, not be apathy. The votes, the people that put the votes that put people in power, it's not spread all over the citizenship. It's usually a fraction of the people that put people in power.
That decide.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Sometimes I'm just wondering, if we add 87 million people or thereabout that registered and picked their PVCs,
yes,
just assume, Ezemmuo, that all these people came out to vote. What do you think would have happened at the polling units? There would have been catastrophe.
Yeah, then you could also talk about delaying uploading.
Exactly.
So maybe it could take 1 month to upload.
Or if not 1 year.
Or 1 year.
So what are we saying? We're saying that let it not be a tradition that once you finish, you want to move on
to the.
You see them at the National Assembly.
Yes.
How vibrant are they?
That's how you know.
Now, because sometimes we talk about experience. Experience is not everything that you require of an individual to function well. There's what we call innate ability. There's what we also call the will to learn. Because you sign the law at a local level, at your state level. You also participate in the lawmaking process. But that is for a smaller block of people. When you come to the stage, at the center, it is bigger,
it's a different ball
more
game.
Complex. So that is where the institute that former minister
Institute of Legislative and Democratic
but when they come, do they subject themselves to the learning process? Let me give you another example. In the US, for instance, you see the Supreme Court justices are revered. You see, they are revered. But from the books I have read lately, most of the judgments, most of the preliminary grounds for the judgment they make come from clerks, what we call clerks. The clerks are like aides.
The aides, yes.
To the Supreme Court judges. They are the people who will research, they are the people who will gather the opinion, and then they will present, they will actually write the judgments and pass it to the Supreme Court judges. What have I tried to make here? You come to the National Assembly and you bring those people who have been hanging around you at the state level to come and be
your aides
aides at the national level.
Legislative aides.
These are people who are dumb. They don't have any value to add to anything.
People who want reward them based on their.
All they need to do is just show up. Come, I saw that a lot at government house.
That's if they have to show up. Sometimes
if they want to, they just come. They show up because now when you show, now they collect. So that might be the incentive. They just come and sit down at government house, and they are called aides. So when you come to the center, for God's sake, there are people who have been in the system, who have been doing this work, working with different senators, working with different House of Rep members. They have accumulated experience over the years on how to even do a preliminary groundwork for a bill, how to be in a committee for oversight functions and stuff like that. So it is only when you come and I see evidence of that in you that I can say, yes, you have come to add value to the system.
All right, we'll go take maybe 1 or 2 calls because the phones then they don't ring all this while. 1 or 2 calls, then we'll tie up because of time. Who they here this morning? Hello.
Ezemmuo, good morning, Jerry.
Jerry, quickly because of time, very quickly.
Your man has speaking some of my mind. You see, all these things is speaking born out in a INEC. When they remove the rigging, you see all these governors, senators, all these house of all these people that take Senate as a discipline, all of them, you understand?
Yes.
They born out on INEC. If INEC can get it right, forget all this way their governors are doing. Secondly, I want to ask this your guest about he used to talk all the American for things. Is it any federal system in the world that practice this kind of film bottle system of government?
It's a Koremadu that introduced that feeding bottle democracy.
That state they have to come in Abuja every month. In that US, see how they do it. In Mexico, see how they do it.
Right.
Let us push on this resource control. All these things. You see how they maltreating the community. Your guest is one of the community member. And me, I surprised when he's not mentioned how to the state to control their resources and bring it to federal. It's the federal that bring NGDC. It's the federal that bring amnesty. All these things, federal have to put confusion. They said that will be corruption that will divide and rule. You understand? So anything who will classify the Niger Delta except resource control. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jerry, for that one. Jerry, don't talk. He talk something important. Say, make resources from state up instead of from up down. Make it go from down up, from state to the center.
Yes. It's the military that brought this whole thing. And they did it because they wanted to get their hands on the resources for their own use. We have seen what happened. All the military people, how they became billionaires and stuff like that. So, but we know it's not working for us.
Yes.
Now, and...
all right, sorry. Hello, who did decide?
Now, Olajide Nainde here from Wuse Zone 6.
Oh, Olajide from Wuse Zone 6. Quickly.
Yes, sir.
Quickly. You get 30 seconds.
I saw that the time has fast spent.
Yes.
But I would disagree with your guest on the issue of those governors that lost elections. If you see the governor that lost election is only in southeast. And the reason is very simple. There is a wave, and since the governor are not following that wave, so the waves will carry them. Check other states. The governors, they make it. If you are not sensitive to what your people is saying, no matter how strong you are, the wave will carry you. God bless you people. God bless Nigeria.
All right. Thank you so much. Olajide from Wuse Zone 6. Maybe you could just use that one, take a round up. I don't know what you feel about that.
You see, there's the dynamics of politics at the local level. It is not true that those governors that made it are the governors that have listened to their people or that have done very well for their people. No, that's not necessarily true. The dynamics of the local election has impact on a local election. So what happens in Jigawa State, the the complexity, the DNA of a voter in Jigawa State, in Borno State, in any of the northern states is not the same thing as the one in a South state or a Southeast state. And I always tell people that in this country we have had several protests. If you look at the dynamics of the protest, protest over national issues, do a mapping of the protest and see where is the locus of that protest. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
It's not evenly spread across the country. In most cases, you see it huge in Lagos. Take NSAS, for instance.
Yes.
Police officers were abusing everybody everywhere.
Well, it was huge in Lagos.
But it was huge in Lagos and some South and Southwest states, other Southwest states. Was it huge like that in the North?
In the North, not
no,
really.
Not really.
I was in Kano. I did Kano that time. You know,
so
really.
that has to do with the constitution of the local political process.
That's the makeup, not the law, not constitution in terms of law.
No.
The makeup.
That is what determines what happens.
All right. So, I will say if you they talk, they go, but time don't go. Lemon, thank you so much for your time, as always. And here we'll take back our Ngongo and Ninja take come off for inside of the studio here. See the phones, the ring. We're not going to take so much of the calls, just to squeeze one or two. Shout out to all my widows, join us. Make we do them again tomorrow on top of Super Citizen at sunrise. They call me Ezemmuo one. Enjoy your day on a good on a good morning.
Oh boy.
Hello, Abuja. You are listening to 93.7 Citizen FM, the latest radio station based in Nigeria's capital. Our station seeks to broadcast a broad mix of culture and views with priority given to development programming to